Have you, any of you, have you read the poem? Have you heard of the poem by Shakespeare? Phoenix and Total? Phoenix Total. Phoenix is a bird, mythological bird, and turtle is what? Turtle is not a crawling animal. It's a kind of bird. This man is Shakespeare. Have you seen him? Bald-faced. The greatest, the brightest playwrights. So it's amazing, right? One person could write so many great pieces. So some scholars doubt that the works were done by different playwrights, and also very little is known about him. And of course, there are biographies about him, but there are very few facts, and based on the facts, the biographers imagined everything. So actually, the biography is a fiction. So you can enjoy the fiction, a fiction about Shakespeare. And I think it's very comprehensive, and it contains a lot of information about him. So let's go through the entry. Shakespeare, born 24th April, 1564, baptized. So we don't know when he was born, baptized, right? 23rd April, 1616, was an English poet, playwright, actor, widely known, widely regarded as the greatest writer in this language and the world's preeminent dramatist. Often called England's national poet and Bard of Avon, Stratford-upon-Avon, his extant works, including collaborations, consist of approximately 38 plays, 154 sonnets. Sonnet is a very short poem, right? 2 long narrative poems. One of these is Venus and Adonis. We're going to the whole poem. Narrative poems. Narrative, story poems, right? Narrative poems. And a few other verses, some of uncertain authorship. His plays have been translated into very major living language and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. He was born and brought up in Stratford-upon-Avon. At the age of 18, he married Anne Hathaway. Actually, there is interesting record about him, and when he died, he didn't leave anything to his wife, but an old bed, BD bed. Very interesting, right? And I think he was a quite wealthy man. When he made some money, he sent all the money home and bought the real estates. And he was kind of rich, and he retired early. So, Anne, and with whom he had 3 children, Suzanne, twins, Hamlet to this. Sometime between 1585 and 1592, he began a successful career in London as an actor, writer, and part owner of a playing company called Lord Chamberlain's Man, later known as the King's Man. He appears to have retired to Stratford around 1613 at age 49, right? Where he died 3 years later. Few records of Shakespeare's private life survive, which has stimulated considerable speculation about such matters as his physical appearance, sexuality. What does it mean? Dark Lady appears in his sonnets, and scholars guess that he was less homosexual based on this. Maybe homosexual. He liked the man better than women. religious beliefs, and whether the works attributed to him were written by others. Shakespeare produced most of his known work between 1589 and 1613. His 30 plays were primarily comedies and histories. His comedy is very funny. If you read it, you'll enjoy it. So very entertaining. So a lot of people went to the theater and enjoyed it. And these are regarded as some of the best work ever produced in these genres. He then wrote mainly tragedies until about 1608, including Hamlet, one of the most famous, right? Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, we read it, considered some of the finest works in the English language. In his last phase, he wrote tragicomedies, also known as romances, and collaborated with other playwrights. Tragicomedies is a new genre. If you combine two tragedy and comedies, it's the same as breaking the rule. There was a certain convention of writing plays, and he broke it, and produced great plays. Many of the plays were published in editions of varying quality and accuracy during his lifetime. In 1623, however, John Hermanges and Henry Condell, two friends and fellow actors of Shakespeare, published a more definitive text known as the First Folio, the posthumous collected edition of his dramatic works that included all but two of the plays now recognized as Shakespeare's. It was prefaced with a poem by Ben Jonson. Ben Jonson, one of the greatest poets and first critics, lyric critics, one of the first critics. And he himself was a playwright, I think. And, he was very erudite, in which Shakespeare is hailed recently as not of an age, but for all time. Huge praise, very great. The 20th and 21st century, his works have been repeatedly adapted and rediscovered by many movements in scholarship and performance. His plays remain highly popular and constantly studied, performed, and reinterpreted in diverse cultural and political contexts throughout the world. In fact, there are two playwrights, and they adapted Shakespeare's plays and performed. For example, Ottesak, one of the important Korean playwrights, adapted the play Othello or things like that, and not Othello, Romeo and Juliet, and he introduced a lot of traditional things, dance and drums and other things, and the performance was successful, and he was invited to play in UK during the festival. Ottesak, his adaptation is famous. Okay, facts. Born, baptized. We don't know when he was born. Died. Resting place, Church of Holy Trinity. I went there and I looked at occupation, era, English Renaissance, children. Oh, signature. Look at this. William Shakes. Can you read it? Okay. Early life. Shakespeare's house. John Shakespeare's house, right? Believed to be Shakespeare's birthplace. Coat of arms, Shakespeare. London, theatrical career. The coat, Third, London and theatrical career. It is not known definitely when Shakespeare began writing, but contemporary allusions and records of performance show that several plays were on the London stage by 1592. By then, he was sufficiently known in London to be attacked in print by the playwright Robert Greene and a groat's worth of wit. There was an upstart crawl, beautified with our feathers, that with his tiger's heart wrapped in a player's hide, supposes he is as well able to bombast out blank verse as the best of you, and being an absolute Johannes factotum is in his own conceit the only shake scene in the country. Scholars differ on the exact meaning of Greene's word, but most agree that Greene was accusing Shakespeare of reaching above his rank in trying to match such university-educated writers as Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Nash, and Greene himself. Interesting, right? Actually, Shakespeare, Yeats, probably modern Shakespeare, he is the greatest as his first drama is the best in the last century. And he, even T.S. Eliot, his rival, praised him. He said, Yeats is the best playwright. Right? Quite amazing, right? And as I said, most of his plays is one act. It's very difficult to write one act play. You have to put everything in it. If you have 5 acts, 6 acts, it's easier, right? Beginning, middle, climax, and then falling in, denouement, final. But in one act play, you have to put everything, and it must be very moving reading it. So Yeats was a master playwright in terms of verse play. Shakespeare was not a verse play, verse dramatist, actually. But even the prose reads like a poem. You'll see it when you read Venus and Adonis. Very beautiful. Okay, later lives and death. Shakespeare's funerary monument. Certainly, he must be bold, right? Everything. Shakespeare's grave. I saw it, right? A plays. Oh, this is William Blake. Performance. Globe Theatre, London. Plays were performed here. And if you go to Osaka, Waseda University, there is a imitation of the house that looks like this. And textual source, style, influence. Great influence, right, on other playwrights, portrayal. Okay. So many sources, right? So if you want to be a Shakespeare scholar, you have to work very hard. Okay. Now let's go to finishing total. This poem is very unique because some critics think it is nonsense. It is not a poem at all. And some critics like me think it is a spring poem. It is extremely good. It is, you'll understand, right? how could he write a poem like this? Amazing poem. This is amazing poem. Okay, we are going to read it very slowly. The Phoenix and Turtle. Let the bird of loudest lay on the lay Arabian tree, herald sad, and trumpet be to whose sound chasing wings obey. Footnote 1. The bird of loudest lay. Lay is noun, right? Sing, song, measure. Most commentators agree that this bird's identity is left uncertain. The identity is not clear. Suggested it might be the nightingale. Wilson Knight argues that it is the phoenix itself, reborn from its ashes. So Wilson Knight thinks it is a phoenix itself, which celebrates its own and the turtle's obsequies, death, right? Obsequies. Although we are told in line 59 that the two birds are left no posterity, no offspring. This interpretation goes with the nice idea that phoenix is a symbol of the whole of Shakespeare's poetry. It means the whole corpus of Shakespeare's poetry. He half admits that it weakens the point and pathos here. It seems unlikely that Shakespeare would have left the bird's identity so vague if it were one of two chief characters in the poem. The meaning is probably that whatever bird proves able to sing loudest should act as a herald. Right? The identity of the bird is not clear, but it is certain that the bird who can sing the loudest will be the person who officiates the ceremony. Right? He will be the leader of the ceremony. Right? So let the bird of loudest lay on the sole Arabian tree, herald said, and trumpet be. So let the bird of loudest lay on the Arabian tree, be, said herald and trumpet. Okay, inversion there is. Let it be, let the bird be, herald and trumpet. There is the inversion here, right? To whose sound, chaste wings obey. Chaste wings obey. Wings means what? The word wings mean birds. Birds, right? Wings, right? Chaste wings obey to that sound. To whose sound, chaste wings obey. But thou shrieking harbinger, foul procurer of fiend, ogre of the fever's end, to this troop come thou not near. There is an inversion here. You should not come to this troop. You should not come to this group. Who? Addressing those shrieking harbinger. Shrieking. What are they? Shrieking harbinger? Some kind of bird. Right? Harbinger, shrieking harbinger, or foul procurer of the fiend and ogre of the fever's end. Fever's end? What is the fever's end? Death. Death, right? Ogre of the fever's end. You shouldn't come near to this group. So these two stanzas make it clear that those who are good come, those who are bad don't come, right? But okay, and next. Actually, there are so many comments here, right? So back to page 179, footnote 2, the sole Arabian tree. Florio's Italian Dictionary, 1598, defines raisin there is a tree in Arabia whereof there is but one found. There is only one tree was found, and upon it, on the tree, the phoenix sits. Interesting, right? It's mythology. How could there be only one tree? Anyway, there is one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there. Grosset declares the palm is meant. In Greek, phoenix, the meaning both a phoenix and a palm tree. Oh, it means the same thing, right? 3, from trumpet means trumpeter, sad trumpeter, sad chase. Be sad herald and trumpet. Compare John. Be thou the trumpet of our wrath and sullen presage of your own decay. 4. Obey was often used with to in Elizabethan English. Usually, obey me, right? Obey somebody, but here, obey to, right? Lo, now the heavens obey to me alone. Chaste wings, the wings of the good birds summoned. So, good birds, right? Chaste wings, good birds. Shrieking harbinger, meaning owl, the screech owl, right? Shrieking harbinger. The screech owl, screeching loud, puts the wretch that lies in awe in remembrance of a shroud. See also, and the like precursor of fierce events as harbingers preceding still the fates. Precursor. This is the only example quoted in OED. OED, Oxford English Dictionary. The best dictionary in the world, right? OED. Note correlation of precursor and harbinger in the lines just quoted from Hamlet. Ogre, prophet or soothsayer, religious official among the Romans, whose duty it was to predict future events and advise upon the course of public business in accordance with omens derived from birds and other potency. Sonnet. And the sad augurs mark their own presage. Actually, there are more footnotes than the poem itself, right? It's longer, right? But it's interesting to go through them. Page 280. From this group session, interdict, again, orders, right? Interdict every fowl of tyrant wing, save the eagle, except the eagle, feathered king, except eagle, which is the feathered king, keep the obsequy so strict, keep the obsequy ceremony so strict. Let the priest in surplice white surplice. If you go to the Catholic Church, you see this monk in white surplice. Let the priest in surplice white, that defunct music funeral music can be the death divining one, lest the rock will lag his right. Let the priest in surplice white, that defunct music can, let the priest be the death divining one, lest the rock will lag his right. There is comments here, interpretations here, right? Right means, 14, that is killed in funeral music, and death divining swan. The swan singing before its own death was one of the most used emblems in Elizabethan poetry. And his right means, it is characteristic of this poem that many phrases have ambiguous or double or triple meanings. Thus, it is impossible to decide whether right here means do or right. What do you think? Does it mean right? Or does it mean do? Or whether hiss refers to swan or a vacuum. You can decide, right? The general sense is clear. Without the swan in the song, the vacuum would lack something essential. But the alternative meanings remain suspended in the words and all add something to their tone and weight. Okay, 17. And thou travel, they did crawl. What does it mean? Crawl lives long, 3 times more. 3 times, right? Double, thou travel, they did crawl. That why thy sable gender mixed with the breath thou givest and takest amongst our mourners shalt thou go. Thou travel, they did crawl. That mixed thy sable gender. It's interesting, right? You can make babies with your breath, right? With the birth, thou givest and takest. Amongst our mourners shalt thou go. Thou shalt go among our mourners. So there's the notes, a lot of notes, yeah. This gives footnote, left-hand column, last line. This gives no estimate of the bird's longevity. Fuller cites Holland's Pliny. Acidius said, forsooth, that the crow lives 9 times as long as we. Oh, really? And the harts or stags 4 times as long as the crow, but the ravens 3 as long as they. Yes, possibly crow is for raven, and trouble-dated means living as long as 3 stags. But no stags are even hinted at by Shakespeare, who simply evokes popular belief in a delicately vague and ponderous epithet as a kid. See Baldwin. And lines 18 to 19. This being referred to popular belief that the crow can change its sex at will. But the exploration of Elizabeth's natural history shows that the reference is to the belief that the crow, or rather the raven, engendered by the mouth, a belief mentioned by Marshall and described by Aristotle and Pliny. Hollywell Phillips quoted from Swans, neither, as he thought, doth the raven conceive by conjunctional male and female, but rather by a kind of billing at the mouth, with Pliny mentions as an opinion of the common people. Fuller gives a passage concerning ravens from Hortus Thenitos. So the reading the footnote is interesting, right? A lot of facts. Okay, let's go back to the point. 181. Here, the anthem, those commands. Here, the anthem, those commands. What is the anthem? Anthem, national anthem, funeral song. The anthem, those commands. Love and conscience is dead. So it's a quotation mark. So this is the singing, right? This is the funeral song. Love and conscience is dead. Part of singing, right? Part of song. Phoenix and the turtle fled in a mutual flame from hence. Beautiful, right? They disappeared. According to the mythology, they are burnt to death, and she rose from the ashes. So this is what it says, right? Phoenix and the turtle fled in mutual flame from hence. In a mutual flame from hence. So they loved as love in twain, as the essence but in one. Very complicated, very good. Can you express this idea? Right? Only Shakespeare could do it. So they loved as love in twain, as the essence but in one. How many words? A lot of ideas here, right? So they loved as love in twain, as the essence but in one. As though there is the essence, as if there is essence only in one thing, right? They loved in such a way, and also they in two, not in one. Those ideas are in these two lines. Fantastic, right? So they loved, comma, as love in twain has the essence but in one, as love in twain hath. So the second this is the subordinate clause, right? They loved in that way. How? As love in twain had the essence but in one. So it's kind of perfect love, union of two, a perfect union of two, right? And what follows is interesting. Two distinct division none. Two distinct division none. Two distinct division none. Very contradictory, right? Something very different are combined here, right? Two distinct division none. Number there in love was slain. What? What does it mean? Number there in love was slain. Number was slain. Number doesn't mean, right? Anything, right? Number there in love was slain. These four lines, fascinating, right? So they loved, as love in twain has the essence but in one. Two distinct division none. Here, semicolon. Number there in love was slain. Good. Could you possibly write these poems? Okay, you could, right? In the future, not now. Right? Hearts remote yet not asunder. Here again, hearts remote yet not asunder. Is it possible? You are here, and your lover is in the U.S. or in the moon, but you are one here. You are one thing here, one person, one body, right? One mind. Hearts remote, yet not asunder. Not asunder. Great, right? And a semicolon. Distance and no space was seen. Again, distance and no space was seen. We are apart, and there is no space between you and me. Twist this turtle and the twin. Twist this turtle and his queen. Turtle must be turtle dove, the male, and his queen. Twixt this turtle and his queen. Distance and no space was seen twixt this turtle and his queen. Twixt, between, right? Twixt. Colon. But in them it were wonder. But in them it were wonder. Fantastic. What does it mean? But in them it were wonder. It is just a common thing. It is just a common thing for them. Right? But in them it were wonder. Between them it is very common. But in the case of others, it would be a wonder, right? Miracle, right? But in them it were wonder. So, between them, love did shine, that the total soul, his right, flame in the phoenix sight. Good. You find the other, between them love did shine, that the total, so his right, flame in the phoenix sight. Right? Either was the other's mind. Wonderful. Either was the other's mind. Mind, what does it mean? Diamond mind, coal mind, or also you, I, my, me, mine. Either was the other's mind. either it was the other's mind. Very complex, right? You like it? Okay. So let's go to the footnotes. Let's look at what they say. 34. To be found in Singer, natural history in Shakespeare's time, they are said to conceive and lay their eggs at the bill. The young become black on the seventh day. Sable gender would thus mean black offspring. And 27, separate distinct things or persons. No other such instance of this use is known. According to M.L. Ridley, in the language of schools, distinction implies a verbal division, a real difference. Shakespeare certainly wishes to give an impression of scholarly subtlety, and does so. But since his theme is a paradox and his method is to work on our imagination, his use of analytic terms can be judged by strictly philosophical standards. Line 28, Adams says the line refers to the mathematical dictum, one is no number. That is, by the two being one, they slay number. Boring, kind of boring, right? To read the interpretation is kind of boring. You just read the lines, Shakespeare, original lines, a few times. It's better, right? You can understand it, right? You don't need the interpretation. But means except, and were is conditional, of course. Were is conditional. Past tense, right? Malone paraphrases, so extraordinary a phenomenon as heart remote, yet not asunder, etc., would have excited the admiration had not been found anywhere else except in these two birds. In them it was not wonderful. In them it was not wonderful. It is such a common thing for them. Line 34, he's right. What was due to him? Fuller explains by adding love in return, and this he sees shining in her eyes. Stevens, in proposing light, seeks only to smooth or flatten the sense. Line 36, the line surely means that the lovers were so identified with each other that each was the other self. So, I, my, me, mine, right? Also, mine, gold mine, or things like that, right? Or have the other self in his own being. Certainly, the use of mine is referring to an unspoken I or an ego is unparalleled and would be unintelligible in another context. But the paradox of love has already been fully stated twice, and the line is only a variation on what we already understand. To explain mine as a rich source of wealth, right? Schmidt, maybe German, or the source of inexhaustible treasure. We are French, maybe, French scholar, is to introduce a new, strange image, which Shakespeare very uncharacteristically fails to make vivid or to develop further. It may be noted that this explanation was first put forward, suggested by two scholars whose native tongue was not English. Though Rollins gives his approval and Baldwin accepted. There are only two passages in which Shakespeare certainly uses mine in the sense proposed, and he makes the context support that meaning emphatically in each case. For example, the body wind that kisses all it meets is hushed within the hollow mine of earth. This is a mine, right? Wealth, right? Today, the French, all crinkled, all in gold, like Hethengars, shown down down the English. Tomorrow they make Britain, India, every man that showed like mine. Lines 37 and 8. Property, okay, let's go to the lines first. Property was thus appalled that the self was not the same. Property was thus appalled that self was not the same. Single nature, double name, neither two nor one was called. Fascinating. It's dizzy. We feel dizzy reading these lines, right? Property was thus a pole. Property, self, selfhood, or that the self was not the same. Right? Single nature, double name. Single nature, double name. Man or woman. Single nature, double name. Neither two nor one was called. Number was slain right here. Reason and in itself confounded. Reason in itself confounded, confused, reason. Reason, so division grow together. Interesting, right? See, division grow together. Division grow smaller. Right? Division becomes smaller. What do you think? It's very contradictory. Two things. Division becomes smaller. Division becomes larger. You can read it in two ways, I think. Don't you think so? So, reason, so division grow together, or become smaller, or grow larger. What do you think? Which one? Reason, so division grow together, or it becomes bigger or smaller? What do you think? You're a native speaker, and Joshua?
To me, I think when they say divisions grow together, it's shrinking to divisions. So divisions getting smaller.
Do you agree? Maybe, or maybe not, I don't know. Interesting, very complex, right? Single nature, double name, need, okay. Okay, reason, so division grow together. Division grow together. Or it becomes larger or small. Confusing, right? That's why the word confounded appears. Confounded, maybe. To themselves, yet either, neither. To themselves, either, neither. Either is neither. Either is neither. Simple was so well compounded. That is quite simple, but it's so complex, so compounded. It's compounded. So you see two words, confounded and compounded. Almost the same word. Confounded, mentally compounded. Compounded, complex. You compound, numbers, compounded. The counting is fascinating, right? Confounded, compounded. That it cried, how true a twain seem this concordant one. How true a twain seem this concordant one. One. Adjectives. Concordant. How true a twain seem this concordant one. Love has reason. Reason none. Very interesting. Paradoxical. Usually love does not have reason. Emotion only, right? But reason none. Paradoxical, right? Love has reason. Reason has none. Reason has no reason, right? Reason has reason. No, love has reason. Love has the reason. Right? You have reason to love somebody, okay? Love has reason, but reason has none. Yeah. So confounded, confused, right? So when you are in love, you do not have any reason, right? You just impassioned, right? You rush toward her, right? Love has reason, reason none. If what parts can so remain? If what parts can remain so? Okay, footnote. Property is a Latinism, proprietas, peculiar essential property. Property was opposed to find out that personality had been destroyed, since each property's identity was merged with the others and was no longer itself. Fierra, French scholar, I think, lines 39 to 40, they couldn't be called one because their persons were distinct, or two, because the nature or essence was the same. Lines 41 to 40, the syntax is beyond repair, but Fairchild's paraphrase is adequate. Really? This kind of criticism, right? Shakespeare's lines are beyond repair. The syntax beyond repair, what does it mean? Perfect, beyond repair. But Fairchild's paraphrase is adequate. Oh, is a negative meaning, right? English, and maybe German. Pure reason has seen those unlike and according to its insight quite incompatible unite together. Oh, okay. In the union, neither had a separate identity. Simple, that is simple or elementary elements, were so perfectly compounded and united. Another version was suggested by Case. Reason so division grow together, yet so neither grow to or become absorbed in the other. So well were simple compounded, so that it cried, etc. Lines 45 to 6. Reason cries, how true this pair is that seems to agree as one together. And lines 47 and 40. The reason continues its comment and then abdicates in favor of love. Fierra paraphrases, so that love is right while reason, which ought to be right, is wrong. Oh, very simple explanation, interpretations. Since there remains a union where there should be a division. But it's kind of boring, right? It's much better for you to read it repeatedly than reading the interpretation, right? Don't you agree? Okay. Whereupon it made this Threny, it's sometimes called anthem, and here Threny or funeral songs, right? To the phoenix and the dove. So phoenix, total means the dove, right? To the phoenix and dove, co-springs and stars of love as chorus to their tragic scene, Threnos, the anthem. Beauty, truth, and rarity. Beauty, truth, and rarity. Look at the conjunction. Beauty, truth, and rarity. Meaning what? Rare truth. If you say rare truth, music disappears, right? Beauty, truth, and rarity. Grace in all simplicity. Here enclosed in Cinder's life. What? In Cinder's life. Beautiful. Have you seen cinders? Right. Cinder, right? It could become flames in any moment, right? Enclosed here, enclosed in Cinder's life. Lie enclosed here in cinders. Death is the phoenix's nest. What? The death is phoenix's nest. Death is now the phoenix's nest. And the turtle's loyal breast to eternity doth rest. Very cozy, right? The turtle's loyal breast does the rest to eternity. Right? Leaving no posterity. This is not their infirmity. This is not their weakness. It was married chastity. Married chastity. Truth may seem, but cannot be. Good. Seem, be. Actually, Wallace Stevens used it. Be. Let seem be. The finale of be, right? Wallace Stevens. So it's a kind of paraphrase of Shakespeare's line. Truth may seem, but cannot be. Beauty brag, but teach not she. Truth and beauty barren be. Truth and beauty barren be. Why? Phoenix all died, and truth and beauty disappear. They are buried, right? So, to discern, let those who? Those that are either true or fair. Let those that are either true or fair repair, come, visit, right? To discern, let those repair that are either true or fair. 4. These dead birds sing a prayer. What do you think? This is a great poem. But some critics claim that this is nonsense. This is not a poem at all. But to me, it's a supreme poem. Probably the most puzzling and the most beautiful and most sublime poem in the whole world, right? In whole literature. Okay, let's make 3 groups and talk about this poem and discuss this poem. What is the best part and why do you think so? Okay, let's make 3 groups and have some discussion.